Hey everyone, welcome back. It's time for another deep dive. And today, we're going to be looking at some weird food experiences.
Ooh, weird food experiences.
Yeah.
I like it.
I think it's right up your alley. And, our listeners are always eager to learn new things, so I think they'll enjoy this one too. And to do that, we're going to be pulling from a podcast that we found called The Simple Pod.
Okay.
And the hosts of that podcast, Jasper and Nova, they shared their own experiences, but they also opened it up to their listeners to share theirs as well.
That's cool. So we got like a double dose of weird food experiences.
Yeah. So it should be pretty interesting.
Awesome.
Now, one of the things I thought was interesting from this is that, weird is subjective.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh-huh.
For sure. One person's ew is another person's delicacy. Absolutely.
Exactly. So like Jasper, for instance, he talked about the first time that he tried fermented fish sushi.
Oh.
And he said the smell hit him like a punch in the face by the ocean.
Wow, that's a vivid description.
Yeah. So, I don't know if I'd be willing to try that after that description.
Fermented food, it's definitely an acquired taste, I would say.
Yeah.
It's interesting, though, because like fermentation is actually like a really old technique.
Oh, yeah.
It's been used for centuries to preserve food, and it also creates like really unique flavors and even some health benefits because of the probiotics. It's like a natural way to keep food good and make it taste different.
So it's like ancient and tasty and good for you.
Exactly.
Okay, I can get behind that. Now, sometimes, though, I think the weirdness comes from like a misinterpretation of what you're looking at.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Like Nova, she shared a story about biting into a piece of fruit at a market only to discover that it was wax.
Oh, no. That's happened to me, I think, as a kid, too. You see something that looks delicious and you just go for it.
Your brain is telling you fruit, eat it.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're like, wait a minute, this is not right.
That's actually a good point, though. It does make you think about how the brain works.
Right.
Like you see something and your brain creates a prediction about what it's going to taste like.
Yeah, we use our sight to help us decide, something's going to be sweet or sour or bitter, even before we take a bite. So, yeah, when that prediction's wrong, It can be quite a surprise.
Yeah, big surprise. Now, before we get into some listener stories, I did want to ask you about something.
Yeah?
The Simple Pod. They had this segment called Vocab Snack.
Okay.
And they talked about this word umami.
Umami.
Yeah. And they were describing it as kind of a savory, rich flavor.
Yeah.
But I wasn't really clear on what it was.
Yeah. So umami is actually considered the fifth taste.
The fifth taste.
Yeah. You get your sweet, your sour, your salty, and your bitter.
Uh-huh.
And then you've got umami.
Okay.
It's often described as kind of savory or meaty or brothy.
Uh-huh.
And it comes from glutamate.
Glutamate.
Which is an amino acid that's found naturally in a lot of foods.
Interesting. So it's not just like a random flavor. There's actually something behind it.
Yeah, there's actual science to it.
So what kind of foods have a lot of umami?
So things like Parmesan cheese, ripe tomatoes, mushrooms, seaweed, these all have high levels of glutamate.
Huh?
And chefs often use these ingredients to bring out that umami taste and make dishes more delicious. So like that rich depth of flavor you get in a bowl of ramen, that's often because of the umami.
Huh. So it's like a secret weapon in the kitchen.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Like a flavor enhancer.
That's cool. Now, I also thought this was really cool. They had a segment called Language Tip.
Oh, nice.
Which I think is really helpful because it can be awkward sometimes when you're trying a new food.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't necessarily like it.
You don't want to offend anybody.
Exactly. So they suggested some phrases like, I'm not all that crazy about this dish.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to say like, I don't really like it, but without being rude.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Because food is often tied to like social customs, and there's definitely an etiquette around it, especially in many cultures where hospitality and sharing food is really important.
Right.
So having those phrases can help you navigate those awkward moments while still being polite. They also suggested, I'm in the mood for something light.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. That's a good one if you want to avoid like a really heavy or unusual dish.
Yeah. So it's like having a script for these situations where you don't really know what to say.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. It can be helpful to have those phrases in your back pocket.
All right. So let's get into some of these listener stories.
Okay. Let's hear them.
So one listener shared about ordering a mystery dish at a pop-up event, thinking it would be a fun adventure.
Oh, fun.
Turns out it was jellyfish salad.
Jellyfish salad.
Jellyfish salad. And they said it was like chewing on wobbly rubber bands.
Wow. I've never had jellyfish salad.
Yeah.
I've heard of it, though. It's actually a pretty common ingredient in several Asian cuisines.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's often served cold, dressed with sesame oil and soy sauce. The texture might be surprising to some, but it's considered a delicacy in many places.
Huh.
It's also interesting to note that jellyfish is considered a sustainable seafood option because they reproduce quickly, and they're not subject to overfishing in the same way as some other species.
So not only is it a cultural dish, it's also sustainable. Okay. All right. I'm ready for another story.
Hit me.
This one's a breakfast blender. So this listener thought they were sprinkling sugar on their cereal.
Uh-oh.
It was salt.
No?
They said the first bite was like a salty slap in the mouth.
Oh, man, I can only imagine. That's rough.
I know. Right. And it's interesting because, like, I guess our senses can really trick us.
Right.
Especially when we have, like, a preconceived notion of what something's going to be.
Right. Our brains anticipate certain flavors based on our past experiences.
Yeah.
You know, so
Right.
in this case, like the visual similarity between the salt and the sugar combined with the expectation of sweetness.
Yeah. It led to a very jarring sensory mismatch.
Yeah.
Like your brain's playing a trick on you.
Exactly. So it makes you think about how much our individual experiences really shape what we think is weird when it comes to food.
Definitely. I mean,
Of course.
something that might seem totally normal to one person could be completely bizarre to someone else.
Oh, absolutely.
Like take durian, for example.
Yeah. It's that fruit that's famous or maybe infamous for its super strong smell. Some people compare it to like rotten onions or gym socks.
Really?
Yeah. But in Southeast Asia, it's considered the king of fruits.
Yeah.
And people love its creamy texture and its unique flavor.
Wow. So I guess it just goes to show how much culture influences our food preferences.
Absolutely.
Like what we grow up eating and what our families consider normal really plays a big role in what we find appealing or unappealing.
For sure. And as our world becomes more interconnected, we're constantly being exposed to new and unfamiliar foods.
Right.
And this gives us amazing opportunities to like expand our palates and challenge our ideas about what makes a food good or bad.
It's all about embracing the adventure.
Exactly.
Stepping outside of our comfort zones and being open to trying new things.
Exactly.
Who knows? We might even discover our next favorite dish.
You never know. It's not about liking everything you try.
You're right.
The point is to be open to new experiences, and maybe you'll find something that you never knew you would enjoy.
I like that. And honestly, even if we don't love everything we try, just trying can be an experience in itself. You learn about different cultures.
Yeah.
You push your own sensory boundaries. And sometimes you just have to laugh at the unexpected.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of laughs, I have to share one more listener story. This one's about escargot. You know those cooked snails?
Oh, yeah.
This person said it felt like they were eating tiny garlicky tires.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Escargot is definitely one of those dishes that people either love or hate.
Yeah, I can see that.
Some people find the idea of eating snails completely unappealing, but for others, it's a real delicacy. They enjoy that delicate flavor and that unique texture. It's often prepared with garlic, butter, and herbs, which adds to its rich, savory taste.
It's amazing how something that might seem strange or even off-putting to some people can be like a culinary delight for others. It just shows you the vast range of tastes and textures out there.
Yeah, there's so much to explore in the world of food.
Thinking about all these stories, I'm curious about your own experiences. Have you ever come across a food that you initially thought was weird, but then you ended up loving it?
You know, I used to think blue cheese was the strangest thing.
Really?
Yeah, the smell, the appearance, it all just seemed wrong to me.
I can kind of see that.
But then I tried it on a pizza with caramelized onions, and it completely changed my mind.
Oh, wow.
That pungent flavor of the cheese paired so perfectly with the sweetness of the onions. It was a revelation.
That's a great example of how our tastes can evolve. Sometimes it takes the right combination of flavors or the right context to turn something weird into something wonderful.
Exactly. Our palates are constantly changing and adapting.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the wild world of weird food experiences, what's the biggest takeaway you want to leave our listener with?
I think the most important thing to remember is that weird is totally subjective. What one person finds strange might be another person's everyday meal. Our perceptions of food are shaped by so many factors: our cultural background, personal experiences, even our individual genetics. The most important thing is to approach food with curiosity and an open mind, and embrace the incredible diversity of flavors and textures that our world has to offer.
Yeah, I love that perspective. It's all about being open-minded, stepping outside our comfort zones. What about you? Have you had any really memorable, weird food encounters yourself?
Oh, I've tried a lot of unusual dishes, but one that really sticks out to me is balut.
Balut.
Yeah, it's a fertilized duck egg that's pretty popular in the Philippines.
Oh, wow. I've heard about balut. I don't know if I could bring myself to eat a developing duck embryo. That's a little out there for me.
I was a little hesitant at first, too.
Yeah.
But I figured, when in Rome.
Yeah, that's fair.
So what was it like?
Well, it was definitely an experience. The texture was surprisingly complex. Different parts of the egg had different sensations. And it was also surprisingly savory, with a rich, almost meaty flavor.
Huh. So I can see why it's considered a delicacy in some cultures.
Yeah.
It really goes to show that what might seem strange or even unappetizing to one person can be totally normal and enjoyable to someone else.
Right.
I think that's a great takeaway from all of this, to be more understanding and open-minded when it comes to different cultures and cuisines.
Absolutely. Food is such a powerful way to connect with different cultures and expand our understanding of the world. Even if we don't end up loving every single thing we try, the experience itself can be incredibly enriching.
All right, so to our listener out there, we want to hear from you. What are some of the most interesting or unusual foods that you've come across? What do you think makes a food weird? Is it the taste, the texture, the smell, the way it's prepared? We want to know.
Yeah. And this raises an important question for you to think about. How do your own background and experiences shape what you consider to be weird food?
Definitely something to think about. Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of weird food. We hope you learned something new, maybe had a few laughs, and maybe even feel a little inspired to try something new outside of your comfort zone.
Go on an adventure.
Yeah, exactly. Until next time, keep exploring, keep tasting, and most importantly, keep an open mind.